Wow. It is so great to see all of you here. Welcome to Seattle. Thank you so much for coming. MozCon is going to be pretty amazing this year. I'd like to say a quick thanks to Macklemore for introducing us, for coming out for the show. That was very kind of him. Amazing what you can get away with on YouTube royalties these days. So I do want to kick off our show, as I always do, by talking about some big trends in the SEO and web marketing space, and by talking a little bit about what you're going to see over the next few days. So, as you know, 2 years ago, we had Cyrus Shepard as our MC, and this year, not only is he back as our MC, he also rejoined the Moz team. Cyrus, we're so thrilled to have you here. Thank you. And we have a fantastic team of nearly 100 Mozers who are here in blue shirts. You can see some of them up front here, and many of them in the hallways, and they can help you with whatever you need. So let's get started. Don't. Try that again. I need a new clicker. What do you guys think? Oh, thanks. Do you just want to advance it and I'll just go like this when I want you to advance it? I can't actually see the folks in the back, but I'm assuming they're saying, yes, we can do that for you. Whoop, we need to go back. We need to go back to the... Let me guess, the Wi-Fi is working great. It will be. All right, let's try this again. Oh, look at that. Works like a charm. All right, so let's talk about some big trends in web marketing this year. No? Still no? Impressive. All right. It's all right. Well, all the kinks are going to be worked out. All the other speakers, they're going to do fantastic things. Their slides are going to work perfectly. They're just trolling me right now. I deserve it. I know I do. I should have come to the setup yesterday instead of working on my slides. All right. So I know you guys know this, but we're seeing this domination of web marketing from brands, which is very tough because I know that a lot of people in our space are used to this world where we can kind of come in, have a small website, start out early, and get a leg up on a lot of the competition because we're knowledgeable about channels like SEO, like social, like email marketing, like conversion rate optimization. And we feel like we can win because of that, but this is getting tougher and tougher. So you can see this sort of Google preference for brand, not just in the direct search results themselves. I think, there we go. Right, so this is Dr. Pete's Mozcast, and you can see from this, right, that the influence of Big Ten over time has been trending up and up and up, right? More and more of the search results are being dominated by big brands. And this is a tough reality for us. And it's not just in the organic search results, which is what Mozcast measures. We're also seeing this, right, across all kinds of advertising, non-advertising based stuff, right, across personalization. When I sign up for a Gmail account, I'm instantly part of Google Plus today, and I'm instantly suggested to follow a bunch of brands that fit with what they think my demographic and psychographic profile is. If you're not frequently mentioned, it's almost impossible to come up in these kinds of results, right? These new carousel results, which are just dominating visual space on the page, and I think Pete's going to show us a little more about that. And the challenge here is that we can complain all we want about Google doing this kind of overwhelming, overarching brand as a signal, but to be fair to Google, this is something users like too. Right? I like this Microsoft study. They did a very good job showing the bias that domains have on click-through rate, which is a very strong one. In fact, stronger than the social signal data that Google was showing. I don't know if the studies are directly comparable, but this was showing about a 15% click-through rate benefit for brands that are recognized in search results. And what they're using to, what consumers, people who are searching, are using to recognize these are those little green lines there. So you start a new website, it's tough to grab hold of folks in that fashion. You might come up and not earn the click because they don't know you. They haven't heard of you. And this is not just true in Google. This is true on Twitter. This is true on Amazon. This is true on Facebook. Brands have a unique benefit, and it makes it tougher and tougher for folks who are starting out to catch up. However, it does mean that if you have a brand, there's a powerful opportunity in all of these channels to dominate. You want to win on the web? Got to be a brand. It's tough. I mean, this is one of those things that makes me say, I don't just get to do SEO anymore. I have to be a marketer. And that's been a tough practice for me to learn and for me to internalize over the last 4 or 5 years. But I think it's critical. It's time. We are also in a more crowded field than ever before. So I did some stats for those of you who read my personal blog, moz.com/rand, right? I made this chart about 3 weeks ago, tracking some data. And you can see there's pretty massive growth, even just in the last few years, right? So this is from May 2012 to essentially early June of 2013. SEO gained 120,000 people just in the US who say that they do SEO in their LinkedIn profile. And we might have all sorts of opinions about how much they really do SEO and what that means, right? But you know, blogging has grown by 422,000 unique people saying they do it. Social media grew so much so that I couldn't even do a direct comparison between the two numbers. It's mind-numbing. And look at this. In the last 3 weeks, oh my God. That's just, right, this is just a couple of samples, but 13,000 new people in 3 weeks saying they do SEO on LinkedIn. I think we're almost becoming a commodity skill, right, in the marketing world. Like you have to have it, you have to know it. And those of us who are here who are, you know, early adopters and thought leaders in the space have a great advantage there. But incredible to see this type of growth in our field. We're even seeing, this is from LinkedIn. I just pulled some searches and brought up some of the boxes that they show on their sidebar, but you can see that even in countries that historically have been underserved, we're seeing rapid, massive growth. Unfortunately, I didn't record directly, but last year, none of the countries that are in the second and third column had more than a couple thousand. So it's just remarkable to see that growth. In this competitive world, we kind of saw, I feel like we saw the time shift, right? Google's web spam team, it was sort of weird. It almost seemed to correlate with that vacation that Matt Cutts took. I think it was in 2010, 2009, 2010, where he went to Mount Kilimanjaro, and then he came back and was like, okay, let's actually fight spam, right? It was weird for a while there, right? It was like Google was saying oh, don't spam, don't buy links, don't build big networks, you know, that stuff doesn't work. But it totally worked. And it was embarrassing. It was embarrassing for people like me to get on a stage and say, don't buy links because it'll hurt you eventually. And they'd be like, how long is this eventually of which you speak? It seems like it's taken a long time. And it did take a long time, but now it is kicking in. I do want to point out, even though Google, and Matt specifically said he took some action against payday loans, this is one of my favorite search results from the last few years. It's just, phenomenal. Whoever you are, I mean, some black hats really have a great sense of humor, right? Like they're just awesome, funny people. That's, you know he had to burn an actual network that was working in order to do that too, right? The poor guy. I mean, that is a sacrifice, you know? He could have had his $10,000 for ranking one day on Buy Viagra or whatever. In this world, it's taking news sites longer and longer to earn the signals that they need to compete because so many big brands and so many small brands and so many of us have figured out and taken over a lot of the valuable and competitive search results. finding long tail or even mid tail keywords, chunky middle keywords that no one is targeting anymore is really hard, really hard. So this is a graph I like to show Geraldine's, my wife's blog, Everywhere's traffic. And what's fascinating is that I see this pattern on a lot of folks, a few folks that unfortunately can't share their analytics, but this sort of thing where you essentially plod along with not much progress for a year and a half, 2 years, and a lot of people give up. But there is light at the end of these tunnels, right? If you have this success, if you keep producing good things, if you figure this world out, you can do remarkable stuff. And in fact, the spike that you've seen in the last 6 weeks that you're seeing on this chart, which essentially represents May and June, that is actually Google. Google's sending Geraldine more traffic than ever before. I think she ranks #1 for like Bavarian foods. You can check that when the Wi-Fi comes back on. But it's been fascinating since the big EMD and Penguin sort of update that was happening in May. It spiked up. So I have my personal biases. I have things that I love to see in marketing and things that I hate to see in marketing. I walk down the street to work every day, down Pine Street, just a block over, and I'm interrupted, right? I'm on my walk to work, and there's these, the kids who are hawking good cause A, good cause B, and mediocre cause C, right? And they're trying to get money, and they want to raise donations, and they'll do all sorts of things to get your attention, and it just frustrates me. And I've always been frustrated and annoyed by that kind of marketing. It makes me feel worse, about the donation that I made to Greenpeace or Planned Parenthood or the local hospital, whatever it is, when I see those folks. And yet, I feel like I need to take a step back and be conscientious of the fact that that's my bias. That while you can separate interruption and inbound marketing, and there are different tactics on both sides, these work together holistically to create a brand. And many people use them extremely effectively. And when you can be multidisciplinary, you can win even in this competitive world. Trend number 3. So social, oddly enough, is fragmenting at huge rates. I remember just a few years ago, I would get up on a stage like this, and there'd be people who said, why are we talking about Twitter and LinkedIn? Like, Facebook is going to take over everything. They're going to be all of it soon. And that has not been the case. Google Plus has 343 million active logged in users. That is a spooky ghost town, let me tell you. It's just, oh my God, there's a lot of people on there. Facebook does dominate, right? Certainly with 1.1 billion active monthly users, but YouTube is only barely behind that, although one might argue, how social is it truly of a network? I was fascinated to see folks like Etsy are at 25 million monthly actives logged in. SlideShare is at 50 million monthly active logged in. No wonder some of my slides get 10,000 views on there. I'm shocked, but that's a remarkable network. And Instagram, of course, just taking off like a shot at 130 million now. So we are seeing this fragmentation all across social. There's a network for you. It's a very disparate world. But search worldwide, and by the way, we can get into this later in Q&A or something, but I don't like to use the ComScore numbers or the Nielsen numbers. I don't believe in them or trust them. Google has a big incentive to prop up those numbers to say, yeah, we only have 60 or 65% of the market. And the reason they say that is so Congress doesn't come down on them for being a monopoly, right? And Microsoft, unfortunately, has a similar incentive. They want to say, yeah, we're 20%, we're 25% with Yahoo, we're 30%. This is the reality, right? So StatCounter is installed on millions of sites, and they collect all the referrals and show it in their data, in their GS data, which is fantastic of them. That worldwide 90%, and in the US, just a hair under 80%. So when you're looking at your search stats and you're seeing, oh, Bing's sending only about 10% of my search traffic, that's just about right. That's about average. And this is tough, this is frustrating. This world is becoming more and more consolidated under a single player's power. And I think no matter how good that player might be, or we might believe that entity to be, and I know there's many of us who have questions about that, but I struggle. I struggle with allowing that, and I wish that we could change it. Even these massive privacy concerns, right? NSA, PRISM issues, Google sending data directly to the government for sort of internal and external spying purposes, depending on your interpretation of what's happened. Danny Sullivan wrote a great post on Marketing Land talking about DuckDuckGo just not getting that share, right? Despite this huge increase in awareness, nearly every American aware of the NSA spying issue at least a little bit, nobody really abandoned Google to go to a search engine that doesn't track them. Privacy doesn't seem to be a needle mover for consumers. We have some concerning issues around data. I like open data. I like accessible data. I mean, I remember in 2007, it was my mom and I running a consulting business. I think there were 5 of us. And Michelle Goldberg from Ignition Partners, which is a venture capital firm over in Bellevue, sort of sat down, took me out to lunch and coffee a few times and said, is there something you really want to do? Something that would really change the industry? And I was like, well, I always wanted to build a link graph. Like, I always wanted to be able to reproduce all that data that Google's taken away from us. And of course, that's precisely what's been, what Moz has been focused on for the last few years. And I think with some success and inspired some fantastic competitors who've helped to do that too. But we're losing keyword data, right? The AdWords tool is going away very, very soon, going to be replaced by the keyword planner tool, which, while it does show data, it's far more opaque and much more challenging to get at the individual numbers that we are interested in as search marketers. That's a big challenge. Referral data is going away. And I'm not just talking about Google. Google's obviously not provided is a big issue. There's another reason I wish people would search with Bing. But we're also losing access to data from people referring, like Hacker News. We were on Hacker News for 2 days here, and all of that is wrapped up in direct because Y Combinator decided to go to an HTTPS secure referral that shows only as direct, so you don't actually know where this huge spike in traffic is coming from. You can't see it anymore, and this is happening with more and more and more sites. It's getting really tough. Google Reader data, of course, is gone. One of my favorite uses for Google Reader, and I know many folks in this room, was to be able to see how many people were subscribed to any given blog out there. And even though Google Reader represented maybe only 10 or 15% of all the people who had subscribed to a blog via other channels like email, et cetera, but this was still incredibly useful data, and now it is gone. Social data. Google used to have this social connections page. Do you remember this? This was an incredible page. This showed you exactly how Google built a network around all of your connections through your email, through your use of your Google account, whatever it was, right? There's Will Critchlow. He has a Google profile which links to Twitter, Quora, Facebook, No More Recipes, Lanyard, and then that's where they were getting the share data from. Right? When we think about how Google Plus works and how Google has integrated all of these connections, this page used to transparently show us, and it's gone. In fact, it disappeared last spring. So, I mean, there's some irony here, right, in Google talking about the free and open internet, but I do get this sense that we're losing it a little bit. I think maybe it's up to us. Right? People like Majestic SEO who opened up and made their Site Explorer free for those folks who connect their account. Folks like SEMrush who provide a ton of really interesting keyword data, kind of keep tabs on what Google's doing across all sorts of search results over time, and you can see cost per click distributions. There's folks like Find People on Plus, which tries to make the Google Plus social graph more transparent. There's Full Contact, which is providing an API for connecting up social account data. There's Fresh Web Explorer from Moz, right, which is trying to give back a lot of that lost data from the fresh links that Google used to show through their link command in blog search. The last trend I'm going to talk about, and then I'll talk about some Moz stuff, is this multi-device world. So we all know that the smartphones are getting huge. I don't think I realized just how huge it was until I looked at the latest Pew data showing us that, essentially we're talking about smartphone near domination. More than half of the US cell phone users now have smartphones, which is a kind of an inevitability. And we're, of course, seeing tablet adoption. I also didn't realize how high tablet adoption is. This is 1 in 3 US adults has a tablet at home, which is incredible, just incredible. But interestingly, and I appreciate H.A. Cohn pointing this out on Google+, which is how I discovered it, but interestingly, desktop search has not been shrinking. It goes through fits and spasms, but we actually have seen 2 successive quarters of remarkable growth in desktop search. People using laptops like you're using now, people using their desktops at home and at their work to perform more and more searches. I think one of the interesting things that we're finding is that more web use promotes more web use. It's kind of addictive. And although we talk about apps kind of potentially taking away a lot of the time, right? Someone points to a chart like this and says, oh, apps are 80% of what people are doing on mobile, and so therefore mobile web is dead or doesn't exist. But mobile web usage, browsing, mobile web access, and mobile searches have all been skyrocketing. I think apps are just a different thing. Instead of watching TV, we watch TV and play Scrabble now, right? It's just how it is. So some news about this upcoming event. I'm really excited to say that and humbled, especially because so many of the people in this room, in fact, all of the people in this room have been such a huge help and support over the years. Moz has now grown to 130 Mozers, which is just incredible. We opened an office in Portland. You guys might recognize that from Portland. Huh? Okay, but I think they did it better. That's some nice work, Resnick. That's bravo. And of course, they had to make their own meme. Which is great. And this year for the second time in my life, the last time I had to rebrand, the last time I was part of the company a company that rebranded, we were running away from debt collectors. This time was way better. Way better. Oh man, such a really. And SEO Moz is a company and a brand that I'll always love and have a ton of fondness for, but I think it was time. I think it was the right time. We can't even do SEO and be good at it without doing lots of things that are bigger than SEO and beyond SEO. And along with this change, our software made some really big steps forward, and a huge congratulations and thank you to our engineering and product team. So this year we launched Fresh Web Explorer, which is my favorite tool. I'm addicted to it. Launched Social Authority, which is now inside of Followerwonk and has an API. Just Discovered Links is now inside Open Site Explorer. We upgraded the keyword difficulty and rank tracker and the Mozscape API with lots more options. There's a new Moz bar out there for Firefox and Chrome, new Open Site Explorer, faster than ever Mozscape updates. Huge credit to the big data team. That's an incredible accomplishment to see 4 updates in June, 1 almost every week. It used to take a month at minimum. And we launched Moz Analytics in private beta. So I know some of you have got access, and today, if you would like to play with it, you can. All you have to do is go outside and look on the right-hand side. Our product team, some of our engineers will be out there demoing Moz Analytics, and you can play with it. And tomorrow, if you have a current campaign running in Pro, that will be migrated into Moz Analytics, and you will be able to play with it tomorrow. You can keep your old Pro access, but you will be able to play with, this is just for MozCon attendees. So we just looked at all of your Pro accounts, not individually, no one's stealing your keywords, but we looked at all of your, and we imported all of the existing campaigns that you've got. If you set up a new campaign today, I'm sorry, that won't be imported. The import process is challenging and complex. But you will be able to play with your own campaign data inside Moz Analytics tomorrow. At least 3 sections of it, so that'll be search, social, and links. I think mentions, the overview, custom reports, some of the other stuff, content, that's all coming later. You will be able to check that out today, outside, or tomorrow via your own account. And that access will look like this. You'll see a page like this. It'll say, oh, hey, you've got access to Moz Analytics beta. Go click on it. Great. This is going to be, without a doubt, our biggest, well, there's no, do you guys remember like 3, was anyone here for the one that we did at the University of Washington? Right, and it's kind of like a rinky-dink room. And we didn't even bring in speakers. It was me for 8 hours. How incredibly annoying was that? Oh my God. And I had like kind of longer, shaggy hair, and I was like 15 pounds heavier than I am now. And don't watch the videos. Don't watch them. So we have this incredible new venue. Thank you so much to our team who's put it together. We have just shy of 1,200 attendees here, and another 100+ speakers and Mozers. So there's probably about 1,300 people in this room right now, which is an incredible collection of the world's most brilliant marketing minds. Really impressive. We have a new place to party. We're going to be at the EMP this year, which does have air conditioning inside, so if it gets pretty hot tomorrow afternoon, which it will, we'll be safe from that. And 36 incredible speakers. Well, correction, 35 incredible speakers, and I think we have Matt Brown. No? Is he? I kid because I love. And in a shocking turn of event, we have exciting things like Jeff Gold proposing yesterday on Mount Rainier and tweeting about it using the MozCon opportunity. Jeff, are you in the audience? Did she say yes? Yeah? Congratulations! That's amazing, you guys. All right, we have to say hi later. I got to get a photo. I want to say a huge thank you to all of our events organizing team and the events organizing team here at the Washington State Convention Center, but in particular to Erica and Charlene, who have done unbelievable amounts of work to make this such an incredible event. You guys, thank you so much. Just amazing work. All right, and with that, I'm going to give you Cyrus, our MC for the day, and we are going to get on with the show. Thank you.